How many times have you found yourself going to the store to get a cute notebook and just not finding the right one? We are happy to share about a brand we love, BlvdUnit. BlvdUnit is the first Black-owned stationery brand to be sold at Target, which is not easy at all and a huge deal. And what we love most about BlvdUnit is that the art shows Black women of different skin tones and body types. The products are also great quality and reasonably priced, and we love a great deal. So when you have a chance, stop by your local Target or simply visit their site and check them out. All information will be in our description.
Black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real. You just gotta take your time, unwind and chill. Cause now it's time to love yourself, build emotional and mental health. Cause Black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real.
Hey y'all, we're back with another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast, and this time around we are featuring Black men who are close to us, are around us, and we're just engaging in various different types of conversations with them. So on this episode, I have someone special to me, my cousin, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce this spectacular person. So he's originally from LA and moved to the Valley. He is classically... Whoa, I did not know this. He's a classically trained theater actor who's worked on projects on OWN Network, AMC, and wrote and starred in projects that he has created. He has also taught theater in China in 2019, and he's a part of a higher education development organization specifically for Black men. So, again, this is my cousin, so I probably skipped his name. His name is Josh. But we're just going to dive right on in, Josh. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Tell us about your mental health journey. Sheesh.
You know what? It's pretty like in its infancy right now, because I think within the last year or two is when I even started to care about it.
Okay.
Everything has been so repressed. Everything has been so, it's not that big of a deal based off of like what you taught in childhood, you know what I'm saying? So, but just getting into a different space as an adult, I wanted to actually start to focus on that. Because just like when you go to the doctor and they tell you something like, hey, we're just doing a checkup, but we found X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So when you do work on your mental health, you need to figure out what's going on. You could just be doing some light work and then find out there's some other stuff that you got to get going. So it's been like a year or two, something like that. Really intense this year, though. Beginning of this year, for sure.
I need you to take a deeper dive because you said a whole lot of nothing.
Okay.
So I need you to tell us a little bit deeper.
Like what I've been doing about it?
Yeah.
You said 2 years. You said something happened 2 years.
Well, yeah, just
he's
like...
scratching the surface. I'm not saying he's saying nothing, but he's scratching the surface. And he's a deep person. So for him to not be going as deep, that's a little different. So I need you to go a little bit deeper.
Well, we had like 4 hours. We could go crazy with it, But no, just like being more intentional with the things that I'm doing, right? So, because I know I want to do things that are going to actually improve my happiness and actually improve my confidence rather than diminish it. So that's making sure that I carve out time throughout my day to prioritize the things that are actually going to make me feel good. So that's, for me, that's like going to the movies, is going to see a play, is reading a play or anything like that. I really, really enjoy that. I'm in like a whole different space, a whole different world when I do that.
Wow.
Yeah, just making sure that's the priority. That's what I do.
You just made me think of something. When we go to plays, that's healing for us.
Oh, definitely.
Because we be so into it, but I never thought of, when you think of healing modalities, people talk about journaling and meditation. And I tell clients this all the time. You can't always journal or meditate. Sometimes you don't feel like you're in that headspace. Mm-mm. But to hear you say, like, watching a play, reading a play, a musical, things like that, it's making me think about how we do that as, like, our way to, like, bond. And we have these really deep conversations after. Yes. But my brain never clicked to say, oh, those are also healing moments. There are other healing modalities that exist that we're not even thinking of.
This is true. That is true. And I'm glad that you've been able to explore that. Definitely. I know this is a therapist of me, but I have to ask. So what happened 2 years ago? Like, what triggered it? Was it this one over here who was like, oh, I'm her being a therapist. Like, what triggered you to, or activated, we've been trying to use that word more. What activated you to be like, I want to take my mental wellness more seriously? Was it like a friend? Like, what was it?
No, it was just rock bottom.
Mm.
I think we all have our own personal rock bottoms. Like, I wasn't like panhandling on the street, like, can I get some money, rock bottom? But like, I had my rock bottom.
Right.
And I remember, you know what, let me not say 2 years. It was 1 year ago. Like a year ago, just when you laying on the floor, figuring out like, why should this even continue?
Mm.
When you sitting there in the dark just for hours, just sitting there crying, like, this is not worth it. You kind of are forced and have your back against the wall and like, either you're going to do this or you're going to do this.
Mm.
And you already have experienced life and the beauty of life. You don't want it to really just go away. You just want it to get better.
Mm.
So how do you fix that? So that's how it started.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another. You start reading these books and looking into these books and watching these videos and hanging out with these people, and yeah, your eyes open up to a whole different value of life.
Yeah, thank you for going a little bit deep.
Yes.
I think a lot of people need to hear that,
Yes.
especially Black men, right? So this next question talks about building community. So I think Black men, as far as like adulthood too, because friendship looks different when you're younger versus when you're an adult. How have you built community as a Black man going through adulthood?
Oof. We working on it. We working. Because, yeah, it's so easy because the last time I just had community already set up for me was in college. You just shoulder to shoulder with everybody.
Definitely.
It's like, hey, can we do homework together? And then boom, you're right there. But now it's like, you wake up, you go to work, you ain't really rocking with them people like that. And then you come home and then, whatever. But I think that's also a part of you carving out that time is I like to talk to people when I'm out doing the things that I'm enjoying because I feel like maybe they're here for the same reason. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, let me try to talk to this person, pick their brain about this, X, Y, and Z, whatever. So that could be at a conference, or that could be at a theater play or whatever it is, or you at the jazz club, like things that I actually enjoy.
Jazz club.
Oh, yeah.
We need to hang out with you a little bit more.
I'm a big jazz guy, super big jazz guy.
Wow.
But yeah, so like just kind of picking their brain when you're at places that you actually like to be at.
Yes.
As you try to find community there.
Wow, you're bold for that. And I only say bold because when we think about being a kid, what do you do to go make friends? You run up to them on the playground. Maybe you tap them a little bit. Maybe you push them. They're like, why you push me? Or you just start talking about random stuff. But I think as an adult, when we're out and about, we're too busy thinking about how do I look? How do I smell?
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly? Do I have the vocabulary to talk to this person? Am I going to sound right? Because I know for me, there's some words that I say kind of funny. And I'll be thinking in my head, like, how am I going to have this conversation if I say that word funny? Are they going to understand what I meant? Or just being like a Black person and existing and thinking like, okay, what are they thinking of me? Like, I want to talk to them, but what are they thinking? So that's why I said it's bold to just communicate with people, because my friends make fun of me. I do that. But in the back of my mind, I still be thinking all these things about myself of like, how are they perceiving me? Did I say that correctly? Did I seem like an asshole? All those things. So I think that's a challenge, to just talk to people more when you're out and about, because you literally never know how you make somebody's day too.
Oh, yeah. But I'm pretty like social, and I actually like to talk to people, and that's like based in like when I was like a kid.
We're talking
doing just talking, just yapping,
We're a family
just
of
be
talkers.
yapping.
Yes.
It's a great thing though. And I think that even if you're not as social, even like those little nuggets of like being in those spaces, even I think somebody else might be a little bit more social. Like if you are even in the space, right?
Yeah.
So
Very true.
you might not be talking, but you might meet somebody who's like you who talks to them, right?
Yep.
And so being open, I love that. So this next question, and I feel like it's getting deep. It's getting very deep. But I feel like this has to have some context. So this next question says, and this is very, very different for the Black community.
I wrote the questions.
Myra, yes, I said yes. So she knows her cousin. But this question says, what roles has religion played in your life and impacted you?
There's no holding back here.
This is like, oh, this is something here. Well, for me, I was raised Jehovah's Witness. It's very strict, very strict, very. By the book. When I was 15 years old, I got kicked out, and then like the whole rule in there is, people can't talk to you and all that kind of stuff, your family and all that. So
When you was 15?
yeah. So I got some family I ain't spoke to for 11 years now. So religion's played a big part in my life for sure, but it's done a lot of, let me say it's a two-part thing, because it's done a lot of damage, but it's also has helped me a lot too in my development, because I think that's another reason why I don't have like stage fright, because when I was 6 years old, I had to give like a sermon in front of 200 people, like regularly. So like doing that kind of stuff, knocking on doors. Hey, stranger that I'd never met, would you like to learn about Jesus Christ? And it's like,
Slamming the face.
well, I'm like,
no.
and then learning rejection too, like from everybody too. But I learned that at a very young age, so that kind of helped with my development. But on the flip side, that's a whole nother part about everything that went down up in there. But
Part two.
yeah, it's some nasty work going on up in there. But we're here.
Yeah. We're here.
But how do you think about your relationship with God, Jehovah, whatever you decide to call the higher power now, aside from religion? Like, not even thinking about religion. How do you think about that relationship?
Nobody on planet Earth can question my faith and my relationship with God. It is extremely strong, and I know that because of what He's done for me.
Yes.
So if you feel that it's a requirement that the religion is the vessel to get there, hey, you to each his own. If you think that, go for it. But it's not. Yes. It's no way. I also think that God's power is so infinite that it doesn't have to be one way. I don't think you're wrong if you're Buddhist. I don't think you're wrong if you're Catholic, if you whatever. That's the way that you have your relationship with God.
Yeah.
Go for it. Me, I'm not a part of any religion, but I also don't want to down any religion either, because thank God for religion, because if we didn't have religion, people wouldn't have to answer to anything, and we'd be living in extreme chaos. People would just be killing people and be like, oh, I don't got to answer to it, so whatever. So, it's my relationship is for sure solid. I read the scriptures, but I don't live and die by it. It's a guiding book. It's one of those things. I take everything with a grain of salt. I don't believe everything in it, but I also don't want to bash it. Yes. You gotta take the good with the bad.
Yes. Thank you for diving into that. And so you had texted me a book the other day, and I feel like you're someone that's just a resource. Drop some resources for us and tell just Black people, Black men, everybody, all the Black people. Tell us some resources that you found to be helpful along just your life journey, even from like a kid up to now. It could be literally anything. Anything.
Ooh. Okay. For sure, we need mentorship, like more than anything. So when I was in college, I'm still a part of it now, but when I was in college, I was introduced to this organization that specifically helps with like the Black men that are in community college so they could transfer to the 4-year. And that's how I've been able to go to Africa so many times that I have and all that. But I learned so much from these brothers, because every single one of these brothers that are mentors, they're all doctors.
Wow.
Every single one of them. So they got years of just academic and professional experience, and they just be dropping gems. And they also, a lot of them are from the same places that we from. I'm gonna shout out Trevor Brackett. Trevor is from LA. Trevor used to live a life back in the day. He used to live a life back in the day. He was active out there. But he's one of them brothers that you could really connect with because he's not like a robot when he's talking to you. He understands and he'll speak your language.
Yes.
You know, and also my personal mentor, Dr. Vines, who was at my college, same thing. He was telling me, you know, he grew up poor and, you know, he bred it up now, but he grew up, you know, poor and struggles with his family and things like that. So these people are not people that are out of touch. So that's a big resource for me, like being able to rely on them too.
Yes.
Like being able to learn from them, but also be able to rely on them that you know that they got you. And from the low to the high, they've helped me in situations that I didn't know I could come out of. So that's one.
Okay.
Not to sound cliche, but books. I mean, books is like read. I mean, my relationship with God changed because of this one book. It was called Conversations with God. And the whole concept of this book is this cat, he writes letters to things that he has an issue with. So if his marriage is going bad, he'll just write an angry letter. This is not working. To his job, this isn't working, whatever. He'll crumple it up, throw it in the trash. It's just how he vents. But one day, he was writing to God, like, why is all this stuff happening to me? But he couldn't write. He just couldn't come up with whatever. And then his hand start moving. And so he's like, okay, what is this? Like, am I being possessed right now? And it's like, nah, this is God. I'm speaking to you right now. And that's the whole book is literally a conversation one-on-one with him. And whether you believe it or not, it's some gems in there that is crazy. It'll change your perspective of how you even view God too. Like, wow, yeah, maybe God looks at it like this way, and maybe I've been tripping this whole time. So books. Those my top two right there.
Can you tell us your favorite play?
Oof.
One. Yes.
Okay.
And not your own work.
Not being biased, not anything that I was in. Nothing that I was
you
in.
can talk about something that you were in.
Okay, well then I would say it would be Mackinac by Sophie Treadwell. This was my first play that I ever was in. That play is a banger. It's just something like it's cool too because anybody could play any role. It's not specifically for like a white cat or a white girl, whatever. Like anybody, it was everybody in this play. And it's some wild stuff in there. I would say Mackinac for sure. I would say Othello. First time I seen that, I was at the Pasadena Playhouse. That was crazy. Them the top two right there for sure. I would say because those two are like changed my perception on like how theater should be presented to on the stage, like how to act in theater on the stage. It's different.
Yes, I love that. I want to ask you your thoughts on The Wiz, but that's another time. Because I feel like, so me and Danica went to go watch The Wiz. And after we were watching, I was like, do you realize that this is about mental health and trusting yourself? I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So we got to have like a deeper conversation about it. Because usually I'll just watch The Wiz and be like, oh, that was cute. That was fun. But that time around, it was all black cast.
Yeah.
Wayne Brady was supposed to be there. We had missed him. But afterward, I was like, oh my gosh. So all the characters in it play some type of role of a thing that you possess. So it's all a part of you. Yeah. And Dorothy's just carrying us along, learning that she needs to believe in herself. Yeah. How did I not get that? Till now, this big age.
It's just it's different. It's because of your experiences and your life and other things that now you can now assess it with a different lens. That's what it is. Yeah. And even us talking about it, because when you was talking, I'm like, dang, I didn't see it from that, you know. So it's like those different pieces versus us watching even plays when we're younger and stuff. It's just like, okay. But like now we get to be critical. We get to think of our own experiences, other people. Like even you talking about these plays, if you probably would have seen them when you was younger, you're like, these are magnificent, like because of your own experiences, you know? So like, I think that's why.
You talking about plays, that's how I was looking at Lion King. Oh. When I was a kid, I was like, this is well, when I got grown, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I go watch it every year.
Crazy.
That's why I go every year. Because every time I watch it, I'm like, wait, I didn't because I've been going to the Lion King since I was like 7 or 8. And so literally every time it comes, I'm going to watch it. And every time it's something different. Whereas when I was a kid, I was just watching. I didn't know what was going on.
You know
They
what's
was
going
jumping
on.
off of stuff. Okay,
Yep.
cool. But now I'd be like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
What? And I think that's my joy of going to plays now, of like just analyzing all the ways that you're being told something that you need to be told is what I feel like. It's always something.
Always.
And it's raw too. Like
It is.
it's something you never know what can happen on the stage.
Don't.
Like with the movie, it's straight
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's already been edited, everything.
Mhm.
With the stage, there could be one night.
Yep.
I missed almost an entire page of dialogue,
Oh.
but nobody knew because it's the way you got to pick it up. You got to be able to pick it up.
Yeah.
But you have to know so much dialogue. Like you have to know 200 pages worth of dialogue.
Yeah.
So it's a lot to do theater, but that's why I like. That's why I really
Yeah.
enjoy
A
it.
lot of memory.
We're going to bring you along for our next one.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair,
We're gonna
yeah.
go to a play, and then we can all dissect it. You know,
Yes,
you know.
For sure.
But you gave us a lot of resources. You talked about like pretty much I hear mentorship, like folks who have wisdom, reliability, and then what was it talking about like your hobbies, like finding hobbies and plays.
Yeah, books.
So you talked about a whole lot of amazing stuff, but at the end we always leave our audience with a takeaway. It can be a quote, it can be anything you want to say to the audience and listeners right now. So what would you say as a takeaway?
Pertaining to what we said.
Anything.
Anything, literally.
This has absolutely nothing to do with what we just talked
And that's
about.
fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to come off like I'm trying to be funny, but I'm not being satirical or anything like that. Please get in shape. Let me tell you why. This weekend, I was out with my cousins and we was playing football. And when I tell you I took 2 steps and it was done, the game was over with. 2 steps.
You mean you passed out?
He was
Oh,
ready to sit down. That's what he mean.
Tony tore his hamstring.
Tony's my other cousin.
Okay. Keith was out. Done. Brandon on the floor. I'm like, we one play in. What's going on? We got 4 quarters. We only did a dime. I'll say that, okay? We didn't do nothing because we was tapped out end of the day. Get it together because we all 20, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so get it together.
Okay, so I got to add something I know then. Please stretch.
Yo, we didn't stretch. we did not stretch.
You gotta stretch every day. Trauma is stored in your hips. You need to stretch. Okay, please just at least just touch your toes every morning. That's all you gotta do.
What if you
wanna
can't
do the
touch
bare
your
minimum.
toes? So?
You need to keep
Try.
practicing until you get there.
You'll get
You
there.
need to. That's one of the top ones. If you Google stretches you should be doing, that's like at the very top of the list. So please try to touch your toes. Anyway, that is it for this week's episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. Again, please check us out every Monday, and we appreciate y'all for tuning in.